Levack and Goss here with you on 104.5 The Team, and joining us now, he is the Maryland head basketball coach, Mark Turgeon. And here in the Capital Region, we know him as the head coach of Shin High School's own Kevin Herter. Coach, take us through the process of what it was like recruiting Kevin Herter from the Capital Region.
Well, it was a great process. I saw Kevin play in Hampton, Virginia in April going into his senior year. And it was the first time I laid my eyes on him and knew right away. And I offered him that night, I believe. And it really is passing that kind of stood out. And then we just kind of hit it off. Kevin and I hit it off. We had a great relationship with his mom and dad. We just felt really good about it. He was a priority for us. I knew Kevin was going to be good. Did I think it would happen this quickly? 2 years, where he's going to be, hopefully a first rounder. No, I thought it would take 3 years, but, it just shows you how good of a player he is and how smart he is. But when you really, really enjoyed the recruitment, and getting to know their family, just a great family to be a part of our basketball family here at the University of Maryland.
Well, let's go back to year one for Kevin. He's a freshman, a first-year player. Did you believe that he could have an impact for your program as soon as the first time he stepped on the campus?
It's funny. I thought him and Anthony Cowan were going to probably be backups their freshman year, and they just didn't allow that to happen. They came in here from day one and just let everybody know how good they were. There was just no denying they were good enough, and Kevin was really, stood out and was going to be a great player for us. And then, he started his career. We're playing at Georgetown. It's his second game, and he blocks a shot at the buzzer to preserve a win, which is just a huge game here, when Maryland and Georgetown play each other. So he kind of put himself on the map there right away, and there was just no doubt in my mind that he was going to have a great career for us.
You mentioned that it may have been 3 years before we started talking about Kevin Herter's potential professional basketball player and what his future could be at that type of level. But you always thought along the way, even back when you were recruiting him in high school, that he at least had the potential to be an NBA player, right?
Actually, when I first saw him, I thought he was a 4-year guy, and Kevin will tell you this. He was about 6'4", wasn't as athletic as he is now. But then when he got to campus and I started working with him, then I knew. I knew he was going to be an NBA player. But I did not know that when I first started recruiting him. That first night I saw him, I thought he'd be a great 4-year player for us, but he proved me wrong. He was young when I saw him. He was probably 16 at the time. But no, once you started working with him, you knew. And I've had other pros, and I just knew Kevin was going to be an NBA player.
Maryland head basketball coach Mark Turgeon joins us here on the phone lines on 104.5. The team tonight is the NBA draft. Kevin Herter, Shen High School's own, has the potential to go in the first round. But there was some talk in that whole process of when Kevin enters his name into the draft, going through the combine and whatnot, of whether he'd return to Maryland for his junior season, whether he'd go to the NBA. Did you talk at all to Kevin during that process, and what advice did you give him?
Oh, we talked a lot, and I love the way the Herters handled the situation. And, his stock really started to rise. There was a lot of talk about him before the combine, and that's why he put his name in the draft. He's talking over with the family, and he went home, and he decided that's what he wanted to do. Our season, unfortunately, ended early, and I think that Kevin had a really good spring. Put on about 8 pounds of muscle, worked really hard. My team had a really good spring, and I think Kevin was really prepared for the combine. And he went there and he played well. And what stood out at the combine is what stood out for me when I saw him in Virginia is that he can really pass the ball. And I don't think the NBA knew that about him, or especially some of the GMs hadn't seen him play in person. So he made some really nice passes there, coming off ball screens, did some really nice things, and then he just kind of became the flavor of the month, and everybody started to like him, and we just gathered a bunch of information, and in the end, it was Kevin's decision. But we just all felt like, family, our basketball family here, that he was going to be a first rounder, and he made the right decision. And tonight's going to be a special night for him.
I know fans here in Albany just can't wait to find out where he may go. Coach, have any NBA teams individually called you? Maybe you can give us a little hint of what teams at least might be interested in Kevin.
Well, there's a lot. And I'm thinking anywhere from 17 to 25 is where Kevin's going to go tonight. I've talked to a lot of teams in that area. Those are the teams that we actually talked to in Chicago and, right after Chicago, which kind of helps Kevin make up his mind to stay in the draft. So we're very confident that it's going to be between those numbers. You never know how the draft's going to go, who's going to slip, who's going to fall, what trades are going to be made. But we're very confident there's 4 or 5 teams in that area that like him a lot, and he won't last past 25. I'm a big believer in that.
Maryland head basketball coach Mark Turgeon joins us here on the phone lines on 104.5. The team just hours before the 2018 NBA draft, and we're going to find out where Kevin Huerter lands. And Coach, kind of give us a little bit of the pitch. Let's say we're the GM in the NBA. What was the pitch that you told these coaches as to why they should draft Kevin Huerter? What are they getting?
Well, I think Kevin's got a big upside. He's 19. He did USA basketball 2 summers in a row, so he didn't really get in the weight room and develop his body like he could have if he wasn't doing USA basketball. He took his tonsils out last summer, so that slowed him down a little bit. So I just think there's a huge upside. I talked about what a great passer he was. I think he's an elite shooter. He'll be an elite shooter in the NBA. He thinks like a point guard, plays like a point guard at 6'7", can play multiple positions. I just think he's great. And I had a player, Chris Middleton, that played for me, that's doing great for Milwaukee now, and I just feel like Kevin's every bit as good as Chris and could be better. And so when the GMs heard me say that, they were pretty high on Kevin because Chris Middleton's such a good player in the league. So Kevin was an easy sell. Kevin asked me if I thought he was ready. He's ready. He's very mature beyond his years. He's mentally tough. He's physically tough. So really happy for him and the family. It's going to be a special night. Now,
Coach, there's rumors out there. I don't want to put you on the spot, but there's talk that you may be making the trip to the Capital Region. Is that true? Maybe we might be seeing you walking around the Albany area today?
We'll be up there. There's some players coming up, and won't miss it. Wouldn't miss it for anything. Kevin and his family invited me to come up, so looking forward to being a part of it and being there when he gets drafted in the first round of the NBA.
We were going to give you some advice on where to eat, what to do. I think the Herder's got you covered, so you're all good on that end. Coach, Maryland basketball, yeah. Just one more question. We'll let you go on this. What should fans here who are still watching your program for the upcoming season, who will become fans of Maryland, can expect from you guys in the 2018-2019 season?
Well, we're going to be young again. We had a really good recruiting class. Some had us in the top 10. We have a couple of real special players in that class going to be good for us. We're going to miss Kevin. There's no doubt about it. Kevin was our leader, was really growing into that role. We're going to miss him. So we'll be a young team again, but we'll be exciting to watch, and we should be good and hopefully be an NCAA tournament team and hopefully get hot at the right time.
The Capital Region's rooting for the Maryland Terrapins. We're all rooting for Kevin Huerter tonight. He is the head coach of the Terps, Mark Turgeon. Coach, best of luck to your team this upcoming season, and best of luck to now one of your former players, Kevin Huerter, in tonight's NBA draft.
All right. Thanks for having me on, guys.